Hi, folks. It's Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com. The Chris Voss Show. Coming at you here on the Chris Voss Show YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe, give us a like, hit that bell notification button so you get all the notifications of all the different shows we do. Be sure to go to the CVPN, the Chris Voss Podcast Network.com. You can go there and subscribe to 7 of our different podcasts that we have out there in a lot of different fields. And of course, we've got a really cool, exciting interview today. Today, I have the CSO of Angie, a company. You can go to their website at meetangie.com, and it's Peter Stransky. And Peter has over 20 plus years experience in strategic management and executive leadership roles, where he worked across a number of industries, executive manager and advisor of the international companies in the segments of enterprise software, digital media, electronic payment solutions, consumer technology, driving their growth, restructuring, and strategic exits. He's done a lot of wonderful things with companies, so we're going to learn a lot of cool things about Angie, the company, and also about him and his experience in business. Welcome to the show, Peter. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, and I'm very happy to be on your show, Chris.
Awesome, awesome. So we've been checking out your guys' product, Angie. You can go to meetangie.com to check this thing out. It's a very impressive security cam. Tell us a little bit more about yourself, Peter, and then let's get into the product itself.
Okay, well, about me, you already mentioned pretty, I would say, boring bio.
Can we cover everything about you, Peter?
Yeah, so I would say I had a lot of fun working across a couple of tech industries. In the past, more with the segment of medium-sized companies and a couple of corporate projects. And a couple of years ago, actually, I started working with the founders of Angie, Thomas and Lucas, and initially a bit advising them, helping them to raise some money, which we succeeded. And I was kind of sucked in and started actually working internally, helping especially on the business side. And here I am. I mean, after 3 years of working with the team and very exciting journey. And I believe we've been able to pull out something interesting, but more importantly, we just started. I mean, what you can see right now is just a start of incredible things which we will bring to the market.
Well, it's a great story that you have there. It's also kind of incredible. I mean, you guys just started. This thing's got some pretty good technology from what I've seen inside of it. So tell us about Angie.
So I will start with a bit of boring description, so a bit of technical, and then I'll do a bit of marketing description. So technically, it's actually 3 things in one. And the most important part is invisible because it's in cloud. Because everything what happens on Angie is managed by cloud, where we're using the actual device as a source of the information, what's going on, and source of metadata, in order to be able to establish whether there is something potentially hazardous in the household, whether it's something you as a user should know about, whether it's something what actually potentially we should record, and so on and so forth. It's a real-time cloud system, which means that, and that's unlike a number of other systems, the embedded part of Angie, which sits within the device, is actually constantly connected to the cloud. And that allows us to do a couple of tricks. And another part is actually mobile phone. So we're utilizing your mobile phone, be it iOS or Android, for being able to recognize that you came at home, being able to offer you it as interface in between you and Angie. And we're leveraging the latest technology which is available on those phones. So we, as Angie, is essentially omnipresent through the device, which you can physically see at your home, the cloud part, where actually a lot of stuff is being processed, and then the mobile phone, which is being used as an interface, but also as a way to recognize you and anyone who belongs to your household came or left. And therefore allowing us to do a magic, because one of the specific of Angie is fully automated. Essentially, after you set it up, and I would bet under 5 minutes, you don't have to do anything because Angie does it. Until you decide that you want to know what's going on, or you want to interact with the people at home, and you can do a lot of additional stuff. And let me conclude with one thing. All this allows us one incredible thing, and that's constant innovation, because we are adding new functionalities even after you have NG at your home. And recently, we actually introduced some improvements of the way how you can work with the alarms. We announced a couple of integrations with Google Assistant, with Alexa, with Philips Hue, and we're working on additional ones.
So Angie's security camera at meetangie.com, you can take and check it out. It's a security camera. It's got full HD at 1080p with an active resolution of 920 by 1080. Field of view is 360 motion tracking camera with a wide angle lens. I think that was the thing that kind of jumped out at me about you guys' camera, the motion tracking. I think that's pretty interesting. Yeah,
so it's a part which was a bit tricky on the engineering side, because essentially what you have is around NG, you have 6 PIR sensors, which allows us at any moment to understand what's happening around NG, regardless how you place it. And as well as you mentioned, 360-degree actual field of view, and the way how we achieve it, because NG can rotate around. So we essentially are using the PIR sensors to understand when there is a motion, and then we actually take the camera to that position, and we can analyze further the video. We actually are just preparing some computer vision mechanisms in order to allow you to have further understanding what's happening in that field of view where the motion was. Last thing which actually we can do with that, essentially NG learns where there is a wall. Now, technically what it learns is where there is no motion for a long time. So it just essentially is analyzing its surroundings, and then it comes to a conclusion which is adjusted actually on an ongoing basis, where actually there is no motion. And that actually allows NG to think, well, that's a wall. That's where no one usually is. And we use it for one feature, which actually right now we are the only one having that, which for privacy function. So when you come at home, what NG does, it turns to the wall. So the camera doesn't look at you. And we're finding this very important for a number of people, because they don't trust companies that they will protect the access to the camera. And I think that's actually good, sensitive approach. So what we do, we make sure camera is actually not looking at you.
So the camera doesn't look at you when it's kind of in a rest mode, or it knows you're in the home from the sensors and stuff?
Correct. When we know that you are at home, we call that mode privacy mode, because it does one more thing. It doesn't allow anyone to connect to NG as well without your permission. So that means...
That's really cool. I really like that feature, especially nowadays where you're like, who's watching me through my webcam? I mean, there's all sorts of hacking that's gone on. The FBI for a while, I was watching people through their webcams. I like that feature where it's not looking at you. I guess it just turns into the wall, huh?
Correct, it does. And moreover, we actually, any videos which goes to the cloud or any videos which you watch through a function which we call Live View are encrypted. So no one else can actually access them. No one else can see them. We're using asymmetric encryption for that. We're not watching anyone's video. I don't want to mention a company which does that. We believe the privacy is extremely important. It's essentially, interestingly enough, I believe privacy is an enabler of these solutions to come at home, because we invading your privacy. So we want to make sure it's done in a way where you are still in control.
Yeah, it just came out that a certain company has employees that actually do listen to your chatter. I know I've seen that company. From time to time, it will light up, I think yellow or an orange, kind of yellowish color, and it claims that when it's doing that, it's just listening to make itself better, and you're just kind of like, yeah, whatever, man. So it's cool that you guys have these sort of privacy things. Now, one thing that's interesting about this is it comes with a security tag as well. Tell us how those work.
Correct. So security tag, which is essentially a sensor, which does a couple of things for us. But the core is that it recognizes the motion of the doors. So you place the security tag at your entry-exit points. It allows NG to understand when those were open or closed. and make better sense of presence of the people, of happening at those entry points, even if there's no direct line of view. So essentially, it increases the intelligence of the entire system because of that, and it's easy to place them. There is no complicated manipulation of a security tag, and you can have multiple security tags at your home. So if you have 2 exits, then you place it on both. If you have 3, the same. There are, of course, some limitation of the distance you can put it at.
So this thing will do several things. It'll give you a home feed through the app. It'll give you real-time alerts through the app, so it lets you know when unexpected visitors are in the house. Alarm events, so alarm videos are captured and uploaded securely to the cloud. I do love the cloud feature. I never have figured out, we get tons of cameras to view on the Chris Voss Show, and I'll get these cameras where it's like, oh, there's a micro SD card here in the camera that saves, your alarm videos. And you're like, well, all the thief has to do is steal the camera and they have the video. It doesn't make any sense. So I love the cloud feature where it goes to the cloud, so that even if they steal the security cam, I'm going to have pictures of them in the cloud that I can turn into the police.
That's true. Now, actually, the NG is designed even with more backup than that. So there is a local memory. So in case that there's no Wi-Fi available, which might happen,
we record. Might turn off your, I don't know, shut down your Wi-Fi. Maybe
exactly. Or it just, there is some outage. The same is actually with power outage. So one thing which actually NG does have is backup battery, which can last up to 8 hours.
Oh, really? So if they shut down the power to my house to shut off all my cameras and Wi-Fi, I'm going to be covered.
Still works. NG works.
Awesome. I always worry about that because I get paranoid. I put a padlock on my power box because it's outside here in Las Vegas. Because I'm always worried, like, all they got to do is shut off my power, and then that kills my Wi-Fi. It kills all the cameras and stuff. But yeah, if they what we've seen, especially here in Las Vegas, because we get a lot of doorbell pirates that steal stuff off the thing. And as soon as they see that there's a camera recording them, like a Ring or anything else, they run away because they know they've either been made with their photo or they're going to be made. So they just as soon as they see a camera, they're out.
Yeah. So the thing is that NG goes a bit step further in not only focusing at the break-ins, and what we're seeing a number of users are, you mentioned the home feed, using it for understanding what's happening at their homes, and especially if it is like an apartment complex, the break-in danger is not necessarily as high, but there might be service person coming in. There might be some people which you haven't invited or you didn't know about, and all this is being captured. Or even if it's your kids, when they came, so you can be either happy that they are at home or actually that they came late. There's a number of scenarios which we're supporting, and more importantly, as I mentioned, based upon the feedback from a users, we actually adding new scenarios and new functionalities on the go. Because NG updates itself, so you don't have to do anything. If there is a new functionality or bug fixing, of course, doesn't happen too often, then it automatically actually updates your NG, and then you continue to use it even without knowing that there is a new functionality. So we're very excited about those new functionalities based upon the customer feedback, and what we're seeing can be new use cases.
It's pretty interesting. You guys also have where you can just capture video if you want. So if your dog's being cute, you can capture that. Your kids are being cute, you can capture that. Save it as a moment your thing. What's also kind of different about you guys is you guys basically sell this thing based on subscription, monthly or yearly subscription plans. You don't really buy the Angie. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, we decided that actually, in reality, consumers are looking to have functional service. And in order to have functional service, you have to have functional cloud services there, cloud storage, and all this stuff. And reality is that most of the companies are trying to find a way how to charge you for that. And when we are thinking about it, we came to a conclusion, well, this is unfair. And more importantly, it's not transparent. And it's not about the hardware. It's about what it does for you. So we are having very simple offer, which is right now one plan, which you can either subscribe month to month or annually. You pay that, you don't pay anything for the hardware. So you have essentially lifetime warranty for hardware as long as you pay subscription. So if something goes wrong with the hardware, we just replace it. If there will be new versions of hardware, we will actually provide you with the new one, and so on and so forth. So there is no risk on your side, and you get access to all the services without, hidden charges or something you would not know about. And
I really like that plan, because most of the cameras that we're seeing nowadays, if you want cloud access, I actually have one product that got sent to us, a garage door opener, that it works with IoT, it plugs into all your IoT stuff, but if you want to use Google Home or Alexa, you have to pay a fee to be able to open your door, saying, blah, 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 to open my door. And so most of the security companies out there, if you do pay, $100, $150, $200 you drop for a security cam, you're still going to have to pay for a monthly fee for a cloud service if you want cloud. And like I say, I highly recommend cloud, because if anything happens, I just, like I said, I always giggle, because I'm like, they'll just steal the camera and then they'll have your recording of stuff. I've got an outdoor camera that it doesn't even work on the cloud. It works, but it has a card inside of it. And it's like, if you rip the thing off the wall, well, then there's your video. And for $16 a month, they get the main camera unit, one security tag, unlimited cloud storage. So you guys don't have a cap on that. That's nice. iOS and Android app, multi-mode protection, 24/7 customer service, and continuous app updates. And like you say, that's pretty nice. With any cameras I have, and we have cameras that go bad with all the testing we do, when you call them up, they're just like, well, you bought it, you own it, you broke it, it's yours. So I think it's nice that they can, have the security of getting a continual update, plus they get the cloud service as well.
You just don't have to think about it, and that's our aim. As a matter of fact, what we're seeing is that a number of our customers are actually the ones who were not really sold on the idea of buying camera, installing it, and trying to figure it out, or home security system as such. So they like the proposition, which is, okay, you actually subscribe. As I like to say, you hit the subscribe now button, and then everything else is our problem. And that's exactly how we approach it. We, of course, have a lot of room of improvement. We're looking, how we can make our service faster, our response is better, being able to support all the use cases. But that's what we are excited about. And we're excited about that we can have very simple offer, which is you subscribe now, and then everything is on ING. And that's our philosophy. And I believe that's the only way, honestly, for most of the market. Because what you see in the US, there is a 75% of households not using anything. That's our market. We actually, as a matter of fact, we don't see ourselves fighting, for those households where all our competition is. We want to address those households who essentially were neglecting existing solutions because they just didn't like the proposition.
Mm-hmm. And in the app, they can get all their stuff. They can invite users. So this is really good too if you've got people coming to your house, like maybe dog walkers. A lot of people are using dog walker services now, and so they have to come in the house to take and walk your dog. Maybe you have a maid. I've used maids from time to time, or maid or somebody coming by to take care of the house, maybe pick up kids or drop off kids. You can literally know when everyone's coming and going and who's in your house, whether they're a stranger or whether they are who they are. Is there any facial recognition yet on the app?
So we're not using facial recognition currently. Mm-hmm. The main reason is because we don't consider it actually reliable enough for the home environment. We're playing with that, so we might be introducing that, as well as we playing with a couple of speech recognition scenarios. We might be coming with some of those in order to, again, improve the quality of recognizing who is exactly the person which is at house, but at the same time with this privacy protection. So it's important that you know that for the reasons which you exactly perfectly defined, because we see scenarios where there are actually other people who needs to have access essentially to your home, but you don't let's put it this way, you don't trust them the same as your family members. So you want to essentially make sure that you have some level of understanding what they're doing. But that's where, you know, we trying to make sure that we properly address privacy issues. It works reliably and so on and so forth.
And I think one of the big unique things, other than the fact that it has motion traction, it moves around to see who's moving, the unique privacy mode. I mean, privacy is just becoming such a buzzword when it comes to everything that's going on. I mean, you're hearing about so many different things, listening to you, watching you, people who can access your cameras. You know, it's crazy what's going on in the world, and I like the unique privacy mode. I suppose if I was sitting around and suddenly it turned and started watching me, I'd kind of like be like, okay, so what's going on with the camera, and it's still watching me.
Exactly. I personally believe that the privacy, kind of in general, is becoming. Let me put it this way: people are starting to be aware that there is a lot of data and a lot of information various services and various providers are gathering. And there's, by the way, there's nothing bad about that. The problem is people are not necessarily aware of it, and they even less aware what's happening with that. And sometimes happening without their consent, or the consent is like 50 pages, so you don't know actually. So I believe that there is definitely a space for, you know, improving the services, utilizing your data, but it's something where it's cooperation with the user, making sure the user knows what's going on, protecting the user data. And to be honest, me as a representative of Engie, I want to protect our company as well. We don't want to have a data which actually we don't really need, because that's the best protection from anyone else, you know, potentially taking advantage of the data. That's in a way how to make sure that not only we misuse the data, but no one else can. And that's what we believe is extremely critical for the future of any smart services and smart appliances for the homes. Really having the privacy in the mind as actually almost number first, and then, you know, the service and other propositions.
So privacy keeps you in control. When privacy mode is active on the unit, Engie will voice announce outside requests for live view. So if you're the wife and you got the pool boy over and the mailman, you don't want your husband dialing in to see what's going on, then you know, Engie will let you know if anyone wants to come in and watch. Is that how it works, basically?
You know, that's quite interesting, because we had a lot of debate in the past how to deal with kind of relationship issues at the household, but it's not our job. Our job is to make sure that the people who are at the household can actually express their will. And we believe this is right way. So that means it's up to you to either allow someone to connect with the device or not. Of course, we have also the ability to, so for example, if you have kids, the so-called member mode, where for certain family members, you might not have this, you know, privacy level for the reason to take care of them. So there are scenarios where you want to be able to actually have the access to the monitoring as a parent, for example. But yes, the privacy is not only issue in between companies and users, but also in between users themselves.
Yeah, I mean, there's sometimes I walk around my underwear when I make a breakfast, and if I had kids or something, I wouldn't want them dialing in and seeing dad walking around in his underwear making breakfast and stuff. I'm just not a morning person, but I don't have kids, so I don't have that problem. But you know, I can see different formats of where you might want to. Well, you want privacy, and personal privacy is personal privacy. You might have some teenagers that are, you know, I don't know, you know, actually, teenagers are. So there's that. So this thing's pretty cool, and it's pretty simple and easy to set up. You just hold the QR code off the mobile phone. We've reviewed products like that before. It takes and sequences it, and you should be good to go. One thing that was interesting, great for keeping an eye on elders. Great unique privacy mode. There's limited users you have on it. So I guess if you have a family of polygamists and a bunch of people coming over, you can you know, have unlimited users basically.
Correct. There's no
live access view and constant feature updates.
You can essentially add and remove the users as you need. So if you have, you know, a bunch of friends who are regularly coming to visit you, you can add them in. There is no cost. There is essentially even no hassle. So that's important. As I said, we want that plan to be simple. So it means everything is included. You don't have to think, do I need this? Do I need that? How is this priced? How is that priced? I personally believe that, especially, of course, if you have a large house, then you might need to design, your security system around the house. But our focus are single-family houses, apartments, condos, where we believe NG is what you need. You don't have to think about, do I need 2 motion sensors, 3 motion sensors, 2 cameras, 5 cameras? You don't have to. But there's a 1 NG and that's all. And we will take care of you. And this simplicity is extremely important. And we're finding it for a number of users as essentially the key element. If it's not simple, they just won't go for it because they don't need a hassle.
Yeah, you've got smart home integration as well. It'll work with Alexa and Philips Hue integration. So you can arm the Angie with the voice command from Alexa. Or with Philips Hue, you can deter intruders with a flashing red lights. And
I'm
looks
not
like
quite
you guys
sure how to help with that.
there we triggered her. And you guys are working on Sonos and Google Assistant integrations as well.
Correct. So essentially, the way how we're looking at the integrations is, let me start somewhere else. I personally don't believe in the proposition of a smart home as a reason why you will be buying something. As I like to say, consumers, based upon our understanding, don't want to buy smart home products, but something smart for their homes. And there is quite a difference, which means if you label it smart home, that doesn't necessarily mean it is working for you. So we are trying to make sure that NG blends into your life. So if you're using Alexa, perfect, you can use it. It integrates with NG easily. If you're using Google Assistant, the same. If you don't have it, no problem. If you have Philips Hue, perfect, you can use it, and so on and so forth. We'll be adding additional integrations. Essentially, integrations is one of the important areas of the development efforts in our case, for the same reasons, that if you're using certain services or certain devices, we want you to continue to use them, and making partially, almost you would say, NG invisible.
This is pretty interesting too. Not only do you guys have a built-in battery, but you guys have advanced sound recognition. So it can recognize sounds like shattering glass, fire alarms going off, which is really cool. That'll notify you. You guys even have a pet feature that doesn't trigger false alarms if your pet goes by. And then this is even more interesting, a voice password. So if your phone is dead or you don't have it with it, you can arm or disarm Angie using your voice. That's pretty cool.
Yep. So right now, what we're using is 4-digit code because, especially, people in the US are used to using it for the bank services in the past. We're looking to potentially replace it by actual recognition of your voice. So we're doing a couple of testing there. Also, because right now for this 4-digit code, we're using actually cloud. For processing, and we are working on bringing all of it to embedded, so that we don't need cloud. We can decrease latency, increase reliability, and so on and so forth. So it's meant for when your phone doesn't work or when some of the members of the household, like kids, do not have a phone. And we're looking how we can enhance these functionalities going forward in order to be, again, able to cover more use cases, which might happen, which are either direct hazard or might be just something potentially annoying, and you might want to know about it.
Well, that's definitely smart, because I've had times where my phone goes dead. I'm out doing an event or a show here in Las Vegas, and I come back and my phone's dead, and I'm sure I'd activate the alarm when I walk in.
Yeah.
So that's really brilliant to have. There are some times where I've walked out to the car, put my phone in the car, and then I come back in for something and I realize that I need to arm the whole system. So there's times where that goes on as well. That's probably important not to take and trigger your alarm and have some control over. Anything more we need to know about Angie?
So I think what is important is we're really looking at having our users to drive our roadmap partially. What it means is we're looking into understanding what is important for them, how we can essentially make their life easier and safer, and for their families. And that's what we see as a mission of Engie. And we built the initial architecture. We are at the beginning of our journey as a company. And we're very happy about having the customers which we do have. We're happy about adding new customers. But we are extremely excited about the opportunities which we have as a company to bring new functionalities, and including taking care of the situations which we might not be even thinking about. So we looking forward to work with our customers, but also with the other stakeholders in order to get that feedback and be able to deploy new functionalities and enhance what Engie does right now and make it smarter.
Yeah, this is awesome. So people, go check it out. Go to meetangie.com. That's ANGEE, meetangie.com. You can take an order one of these for about the price of what you would pay after you buy a security cam at full price. And then you'd have to pay a monthly cloud to that security cam company. You can just basically pay a monthly fee to have all of it. And you don't have to expend the really high cost of buying a unit and then paying the monthly fee. You can get everything all included just by paying a monthly fee. I also like the feature where if maybe it breaks down or it needs improvements, of course, you guys are constantly improving it. I really love that feature because we've had stuff that has been sent to us. I don't usually buy my own security cameras, but with the security cameras, we'll get like a really good one. I'll be like, I really like this security camera, and I'll be missing something like smart home integration, or like it doesn't have, you know, Google, but it's got Alexa, or if it, you know, vice versa. And then like 6 months later or 3 months later, that company will come out with another version of the product that has full integration, but you can't get that because you have the old product, and you're just like, oh man, this sucks. So I think it's really great that people have that upgradable feature with you guys. They're going to pay a relatively low monthly fee, but they also don't have the high cost of outputting. I remember when I first was looking at getting security cameras for my house, I'm like, this costs a lot of money just to get a bunch of these to cover the whole house and, you know, all the areas of a 2-story home. And so I like the low entry cost that makes it so people can get their cameras, get them going, and they just have to pay the monthly fee they'd otherwise pay for an online cloud service.
Thanks for that. And I would like to highlight one more thing. You can cancel anytime. So if you don't like it, if it doesn't do for you what you need, or if you found something better, you can cancel anytime. There is no string attached. And that's very unique as well. And we believe that the Engie service is great and will be becoming better and better. And that's why we actually can afford to have such an excellent offer.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. All right, guys. So check it out. Go to meetangie.com. Tell them Chris Voss sent you. Check out their different cameras. The camera that they have on there and some of the different features it has. I think it's pretty interesting. Watch some of the videos. Watching the tracking on the cameras on their videos is really interesting. How it tracks and knows what's going on and pays attention. The motion stick sensors, or what are the sensors that go on the windows and doors so they know when they're being opened and stuff that you guys have?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, those are great too. So watch the videos, check them out. Be sure to give them a like, subscribe to us on YouTube so you know all the things that we have going on. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, and we'll see you next time.